each team that could sort of carry them to victory?
Well, I think for Puerto Rico, Jorge Torres, he's been the star. He was really good for them in the Under-17 Central Basket Tournament in 2017. He led them in points and rebounds. And I think for Panama, Jonathan Andrade, even though he's a smaller guy on their team, he has a lot of assists. He usually gets his teammates involved. I think he could be an important factor for Panama if they want to get the win today.
Andrade averaged 4.6 assists a game in the U17 championships last year, so he's going to be a guy you're going to look to see feeding the ball, not so much scoring, but going to be that guy to set up plays and find those guys in down low.
And one thing that's interesting, kind of looking at the lineups for today, Ricardo Lindo, who is the captain, it doesn't look like he will be starting today, so we'll see what's going on. Maybe he's hurt.
As we get ready for the national anthems, we will hear from them, and tip-off will be right around the corner.
The teams will now follow international basketball protocol by exchanging gifts and shaking hands.
Between Puerto Rico and Panama to finish things off here on day one of the 2018 U18 FIBA Americas Championship. Announcing starting lineups in a short moment. But first, let's look back. Puerto Rico has had really good success in these world tournaments.
Absolutely. So far in this Central Basket Tournament that they've been competing in for the past 6 years, they finished first in 4 of them and second in 2 of them. So they've always been successful. The only issue is last time they were in the Americas Championship 2 years ago, they finished 4th. So they want to maybe translate that success that they have in the Central Basket to the Americas tonight.
Quickly go through the starting lineups. First off, for Team Puerto Rico, as I mentioned, ranked 15th. It's Jorge Torres wearing number 9, Alejandro Vasquez number 10, DeAndre Dominguez number 11, Isaiah Palermo is number 12, and Jose Placer number 15.
And I think we're going to expect to see a lot from Torres right now as we see Puerto Rico's roster. They have a lot of talent, and in the under-17 tournament they had in 2017, they had a lot of players score. Torres was their leading scorer with 14, so they really spread the ball around, and that's something really important, especially in a tournament that goes a week long. You might need some help from unexpected players.
Something you were also mentioning before we even started the broadcast here is the height of Puerto Rico.
And I think height can be a big issue in a tournament like this, especially with young players, because the experience isn't always there. So sometimes those attributes like height or weight could become a factor. That's something that Panama is going to have to deal with tonight, because right now for Puerto Rico, they definitely have the height advantage. As we're looking at Panama's roster, you can see the height just isn't the same compared to Puerto Rico.
The starters for Team Panama, it'll be Jonathan Andrade, as we mentioned off the top. It'll be Omar Garibaldi, number 8, Edward Lopez, number 10, Jesus Lombardo, number 12, and John David Gunn, wearing number 13.
And without Ricardo Lindo, their captain, in the game, you're going to have to expect a lot from Jonathan Andrade. Maybe Jesus Lombardo. He was the second leading leader in rebounds for them 17 Central Basket Tournament. So maybe expect a lot from him, expect a lot from Andrade. It's going to take a collective team effort for Panama to get the job done tonight, which I think they could do.
If you're head coach David Rosario for Team Panama, what's something you tell your team to get them ready for this game and get them pumped up?
I think one thing that I mentioned at the top was that at the end of the day, everyone's record is the same. You know, everyone can come in here with confidence because nothing's happened yet. And for Panama, yeah, they're not ranked. But like I said, Ecuador, they played really well in that first half. And if Ecuador can maybe put the pedal a little bit harder in that second half, they could have came out with the win. So if Panama does the same, maybe they can start off with the win.
Omar Gonzales, the head coach for Team Puerto Rico, who obviously you could call the favorites in this game, being the 15th ranked team in the world going up against an unranked team. Would confidence be too high for Puerto Rico? And maybe if you're Gonzales, sort of settle them down early on, make sure they hit those early shots, because late in that game, it could come to bite them in the butt.
Well, I think at the end of the day, since everyone's record is the same, for Puerto Rico, they just have to do what they do. You know, stay disciplined, play smart, use your height to the advantage, and I think you can get the win. I don't think Puerto Rico's coming in with a lot of, I would say they're confident, but not overconfident.
As time ticks down on the center scoreboard here at the Meridian Center, there's the buzzer. We're ready for game 4 here on day 1. Puerto Rico against Panama. It is Puerto Rico in blue and white, Panama in white and red. Garibaldi, the tip for Panama. Dominguez for Puerto Rico, and it's Puerto Rico with the first possession of the contest. Torres. Here's Placer. Looking to get on the board first, Team Puerto Rico. Jumper there, off the mark, rebound. Fell into a sea of white, and Panama will take over.
I don't think that was a great possession for Puerto Rico, but it's still early, obviously. Let's see if they can maybe rebound on the defensive side.
Andrade driving, floats one up, that one good. First 2 possessions, nothing doing for both teams. 3 ball, unable to get it to go. Looks like teams just trying to shoot at will here to start this one.
You have to remember this is the late game of the day. So you have to remember these teams, they've been just waiting to play this game. So you never know, maybe they're gonna start a little rusty as Andrade takes a shot.
Rebound scooped up there by Palmero. As right in front of us, ball moved quickly by Puerto Rico. Still looking for our first 2 points of the contest, as Vasquez tried to get the first 3, came up a little bit short, and it's Andrade back the other way for Panama.
You can see that Panama in their first 2 possessions, it was Andrade who took 2 shots. We said that they might want to get him involved early. So far they've been trying, it just hasn't resulted in shots going in until now.
There are the first 3 points of the contest. They belong to Panama. Placer right in front of us, Torres. Puerto Rico looking to respond. Placer 3, in and out, rebound up for grabs. Who's gonna get it? It's off a couple of bodies. And Puerto Rico will keep the basketball.
And you love to see that type of energy on the offensive side. Even though shots haven't been going in so far, they haven't given up on the play, and that results in them getting the possession again.
Placer to inbound. Has Torres. He was wide open for a couple seconds. He looked for another option, but just decided to go to Torres. Palmero's shot a little bit long. Rebound up for grabs. It's Lopez. Smart play, putting it off of Vasquez, out of bounds. Panama will get the ball.
That was a fantastic play by Lopez. Good heads-up play. That wouldn't have been their ball if he didn't make that smart move.
It will be Gunn to inbound right in front of the Niagara Ice Dogs logo. And he gets it back just over center court. Gunn. He gets fouled. Just over 2 minutes into the contest, we only have 3 points up on the board, and they belong to Panama. Andrade. Gunn, three, good. 6-0 Panama early on.
And it was Panama who used the pick and roll on that side to get the guy open on the wing. Gunn hits the wide open three.
As that pass, looking for Palmero, couldn't find him, was Dominguez. It's a turnover. Panama will get the basketball back.
Puerto Rico looks like they're a little flustered right now. They're not really in the zone. They still have a ton of time to make up for it. It's only 6-0, but they have to get their head in the game. You can't go down too much too early.
Adriel Linares checks into the game for Puerto Rico. He's number 8 in blue. Andrade handed it off. Panama looking to extend their lead. 6-0 run to get things started. Andrade, 5 to shoot. To Gunn, lost the handle for a second, now decides to drive, puts it up, draws contact, and he'll head to the line.
That was really impressive by Gunn there. He lost the handle, like you said, on the three-point line. That could have completely screwed that play up, but instead he was able to get into the paint, draw a foul, and now he has an opportunity to maybe get some points on this possession.
There was 1 second left on the shot clock when that call happened. So that's good clock management by Panama. Gunn, first attempt is off the mark. Gunn stands at 6-1. And he misses both. Score remains 6-0 for Panama.
You always have to worry about free throws, especially late in the game. You don't want them to come back to haunt you, so you have to take advantage of those opportunities when they come.
Torres handed it off. It's Vasquez. Just at about the free throw line. Couldn't get the floater to go. Panama back the other way. It's who else? It's Andrade. Ball lost, up for grabs. Panama regaining control. Putting it up, no good, can't get it to go. And Puerto Rico back the other way. Placer puts it up. There's Puerto Rico's first 2 points of the game.
And it was much needed for them. They needed to get something on the board, especially because now we're going in almost 4 minutes into this game. They finally get their first basket.
6:20 left to go here in the first quarter. Up top, Andrade. 5 on the shot clock. Decides to hand it off into the paint. Going up and not getting it to go was Lombardo. Puerto Rico back the other way. Can't get the lane to go. That was Vasquez. Panama quickly back the other way. It's Gunn. He'll drive. And a nice block there from Linares coming off the bench. Back the other way comes Placer, and he is fouled.
You can feel the pace quicken right now. You know that both teams are struggling to get points on the board, so maybe they're trying to change things up. A great defensive play on the other end, and now Puerto Rico has a chance at 2 free throws.
Just under 6 minutes to play here in the first quarter. Game 4 of day 1 here at the 2018 FIBA U18 Americas Championship here in St. Catharines, Ontario. As we take another look at the block.
That was great timing on that play by Puerto Rico. They needed to make something happen. You don't want to start getting behind too much. Now it results in 2 points on the other side.
Andrade Said his name a lot here early on in this game. Gunn being double teamed. Andrade, nice give and go to Gunn, who can't get it to go. As Linares doing another great defensive play in down low. Now it's Placer the other way. Vasquez up top, the three. That one is good there from number 12, Isaiah Palermo.
And this is all resulted from the defense on the other side. It's been Linares with 2 straight blocks, and now it's resulted in 7 points.
Corner 3 coming up just a little bit short there from Garibaldi. Now it's Vasquez for Puerto Rico, trying to give them their first lead, can't do it. Ball up for grabs, up top, Placer driving, kicks it back out. Now in front of us, Palmero. 3 ball off the mark. Rebound up for grabs, it's Torres putting it back up. First lead of the game for Puerto Rico, it's 8-6.
We expect a lot from Torres in this game, and that was a nice offensive rebound and then resulting in 2 points.
Panama looking to quickly respond, either get things tied up or take a 1-point lead. Lopez. And a foul. Panama shooting 2.
In the act of shooting.
Panama with substitution. It's going to be Garibaldi coming onto the bench. Sepharon will come on for him.
And for Lopez right now, he can get 2 points to keep Panama in this game. After they took the lead 6-0, now it's 9-7. You know, Panama needs to start scoring because they can't be the ones who get cold. We mentioned that, you know, they're not ranked. They need to show up, and they need to show up fast, especially in the first game of the tournament.
Lopez makes both for Panama, cutting the lead to 1 point. It's 9-8 Puerto Rico. We are past the midway mark of the first quarter. Palermo down low, Linares back to Palermo. Nice give and go play, Puerto Rico, a 3-point advantage.
That was a fantastic look to get Palermo a wide open layup. It seems like Puerto Rico's starting to find their groove, which we expected as Panama answers right back with 2 points.
Back and forth they go. Now trying to slow things down a little bit is Palermo for Puerto Rico. Far side, 3. Comes up a little bit short. Rebound picked up there by Lombardo for Panama.
That's got hurt for Puerto Rico because it was a wide open look, but it's also a good sign to see that they're getting the shots that they want.
Stoppage in play here to our right. Blocking foul on the floor. Substitutions continue for Panama. It'll be Aguilar coming in. He's number 6 in white, replacing Lopez. Ball to be inbounded to our right. It'll be Gunn. Andrade driving, being guarded by Placer, puts it up, comes up short. And it's off Andrade. It'll be Puerto Rican ball.
And you have to wonder if rust is coming into this game right now because it's only 11-10. It's been a low-scoring game. We see some great defense, but we've also seen some open shots getting missed. I think both teams are starting to find their groove a little bit, but it still took a little bit for them to get there.
Another foul halts play here in this one. Also, these fouls having something to do with the pace of play here. 4 fouls already for Puerto Rico. We've got 2 for Panama. Linares. Jumper, good. As Placer pulled up just inside the arc.
Placer, who's 6 points already for them, 2 for 3 from the field. He's been playing really well. He's been the leader for them.
Andrade. Lost the handle, ball will roll out of bounds. They're gonna say it's off for Puerto Rican. Panama will keep possession with 9 on the shot clock and just over 3 minutes to go here in the first.
And let's see who finishes this quarter strong. We mentioned that it has been a low-scoring game, but a lot can happen in 3 minutes. We'll see if maybe one team can take advantage.
Andrade to Gunn, 3, no good. Rebound is picked up there. Jumper, good. From Sepharon. 13-12, Puerto Rico leads. Placer handed it off. putting it up and drawing contact. He'll head to the line. That's George Condit, big number 4 in blue.
And I think that was huge for Puerto Rico, especially because they picked up the pace. They didn't give up after they let that basket in. They pushed in, they found a wide open man, and then they forced a foul, plus the basket.
George Condit, the 6'10 forward. As you see him there go up, getting 2 and a chance to complete the 3-point play. Condit will join the Iowa State Cyclones in the fall, as he was at Corliss High School in Chicago this past year. Definitely exciting for him to start new chapter in his basketball career, as along the other side, 3 ball there, no good from Sepharon. Back in down low, that pass from Gunn is intercepted. We have a foul. Panama will head to the line.
And you can see that offensive rebounds have been a huge factor in this game so far. Panama getting multiple opportunities at the offensive side, and now they're going to get 2 free throws.
It will be Aguilar. First one, no good.
So we take a look, getting inside, trying to make the pass, but from behind, just getting kind of whacked from the side.
Aguilar misses both. It continues to be a 2-possession game. As back the other way, it's Jose Placer. Looking to extend their lead is Team Puerto Rico. Rosa tried to hand it off, couldn't do so as Gunn got his hand up and is able to intercept that pass.
And it seems like Panama's trying to play at a slower pace right now. They're not really pushing it up quickly. They're trying to get set shots, and that's a wide open 3 that they can't hit. They missed the past couple of shots, but again, another offensive rebound and the foul. Gunn going to the line. Again, the offensive rebounds have been killing Puerto Rico.
That will now make it 16-14, a chance to cut the lead to 1 as the subs continue. Andrade will come off for Panama.
Gunn's been really impressive so far for Panama. Again, a lot of contact. That's still a tough shot, and he makes it, and now he's an opportunity to make it a 3-point play.
Sanger makes his way into the game for Panama. Lopez also checking back in. Gunn will take a seat. He's earned it so far here in this first quarter, been by far the best player for Panama. As Santiago's pass off the mark, back the other way, Lombardo will just float it up and off the glass, and Panama is back out in front.
And one thing for young players is sometimes they forget that defense can translate into offense, and that's exactly what we saw right there.
Giovanni Santiago, number 7 in blue. Colon up top, he's number 13. Lost the handle momentarily, got it back. Santiago again. Wanted to drive, couldn't find a lane, so he pulled up. Lombardo with the rebound as that shot came up just a little bit short.
It feels like Puerto Rico's really just settling for shots right now. It doesn't seem like they're really trying to get set plays. It seems like they're just kind of forcing it up. And right now, in a close game like this, that's not the right time to do that.
Lopez tried to find Sepharon along the sideline, couldn't do it as he threw it out of bounds. It'll be Condit to inbound for Puerto Rico right in front of his own bench. Less than a minute to go, 50 seconds exactly. It's a 17-16 advantage for Panama over Puerto Rico. It's Santiago right in front of us, looking for options. Placer, floater, short, rebound up for grabs. Going back up, Colon, able to get it to go, and back and forth. Once again, Puerto Rico is on top.
Both teams really just playing really well. As we see a turnover there, it might have just jinxed it for Panama, as that results in 2 points for Puerto Rico on the other side. I still think Panama has to be happy with where they are, as well as Puerto Rico. Both teams haven't played their best basketball, but it's only a 3-point game with 10 seconds remaining.
More than likely the last possession of the opening quarter. It's Lopez being guarded by Condit. Lopez tried to drive, couldn't. Sepharon off the mark. There's the buzzer, and we are at the conclusion of quarter number 1 here in game 4 on day 1. Game 2 here in Group A. It's a 20-17 lead for Team Puerto Rico.
And I'm really impressed with the fact that Puerto Rico, who started slow, was able to keep their cool, keep it together, and able to push back and take the lead. But for Panama, they have to be happy as well. Only down 3 points. I think they played good enough to keep themselves in this game, but they have to play better, because if they keep playing the way they are and Puerto Rico starts to get a better groove, this game might pull away.
Standout guy so far, John David Gunn. You mentioned him quite a bit in that opening quarter. We'll take a quick break, come right back. 20-17, Puerto Rico leads Panama.
Now that's how to mop the floor quickly.
We are almost set for the second quarter. It's 20-17. Puerto Rico leads Panama here in the fourth game of day one at the 2018 FIBA U18 Americas Championship right here at the Meridian Center in St. Catharines, Ontario. Taking a look at the first quarter stats. Who do you like?
Well, for Puerto Rico, it's been Jose Placer, the captain of the team. He's leading with 6 points, as well as Isaiah Palermo with 5. It seems like, again, like we mentioned at the top, they've been spreading the ball around, and it's been really impressive.
One thing I found interesting about Jose Placer while I was getting ready for this contest, he's headed to UMBC this next coming year. Of course, if anyone followed along with March Madness, UMBC was the Cinderella story of 2018. That's where Jose Placer is going, but it was kind of an odd story because he was in Baltimore touring the campus at the same time Hurricane Irma was ripping its way through Orlando. His flight got canceled, which made his trip at UMBC a little bit longer, and ultimately he decided that's going to be his home in the fall.
Well, for UMBC, it looks like they're going to be getting really good players, especially from what we saw in that first quarter.
Stoppage in play, 12 seconds into the second quarter, and we'll have an inbound in down low. Sanger to Sepharon, tried to drive, couldn't, decides to pull up, shot just off the mark. And that's big 6'10", George Condit with that rebound. Cologne, no good, gets his own rebound. Off the rim, Panama will slow things down a little bit as it's Sepharon back the other way up top. Sanger, Sepharon. Three, that's an air ball there from Lopez, and it's Placer back the other way, and he is fouled just on that center court logo.
I think that was a good foul because they had numbers in the transition, so now they're gonna have to stop, set a play up together to try and get something going on the offensive side. For Panama, I feel like they need to move the ball a little bit more. It seems like they're getting a little congested on the offensive side. Maybe get a lot more players involved, do something that Puerto Rico's done really well, and that's have a lot of ball movement.
Story of the first quarter, not very much scoring. Same story here to start the second, as no one has been able to get on the board. The first couple possessions have been missed. As there's the first point of the second quarter, courtesy of Jose Placer.
And for both teams right now, they're struggling to shoot the three ball. Only 2 for Panama and 1 for Puerto Rico. Maybe that's not their game. Maybe they want to try to get it a little bit more in the paint.
Now 5-point lead for Puerto Rico. Placer makes both free throw shots, and he'll take a seat on the bench. Quintana to inbound. Finds Cologne, just hands it right back to Quintana. Cologne up top, tons of space, decides to hand it off. Now it's Santiago being guarded by Gunn up top. Colon the three, he makes no mistake.
And that's
extending the Puerto Rican lead.
And that's huge for Colon because they clearly don't see that three-point shot as a threat. With him making one, they might have to start pulling up at that three-point line.
Andrade being guarded heavily. Jumper off the mark, Panama with the rebound. As it hit a couple of hands back the other way. Santiago lost the handle for a second, able to get it back, trying to make a couple of moves. Up top, nice play for the three up. Colon again, ball up for grabs. And finally, Panama will settle things down a bit. Andrade back the other way.
And we've seen Colon get a couple offensive rebounds on that side for Puerto Rico, but he hasn't translated them into points, which is something Panama has been doing. So Puerto Rico, they're gonna have to capitalize on multiple opportunities on one possession if they want to win this game.
Andrade fouled, he'll head to the line to shoot two. To take a look, he got the feed from Gunn. Being fouled there by Quintana.
And we mentioned that Andrade, we expect to see a lot from him today. And so far, he's really been handling the ball a lot. He's been getting in the paint. He's been being aggressive. He missed the free throw, but it's still good to see him go to the line, try to get something going for Panama.
Second attempt good, making it a 7-point lead for Puerto Rico. Colon, Rosa. Big George Condit. Lost the handle, able to regain possession. Thought about driving, but then that pass intercepted. It's Andrade off the glass, no good. Rebound picked up by Quintana, and Puerto Rico quickly back the other way. Santiago, Condit underneath, can't get the rebound, and it's Andrade again.
So far, we've seen a lot of sloppy plays from both sides, a lot of missed shots. Right now, both teams, it seems like they're struggling from the field. They got to figure something out before maybe one team figures it out before them.
Gunn, three, no good as he was falling down. May have been looking for contact as Andrade able to get a hand in, deflect the ball away, and it's Aguilar going off the glass.
And we finally see a turnover translate into points for Panama. That's big. Now it's only a 5-point lead.
Another turnover for Puerto Rico. This could be where Panama regains that momentum and possibly able to take the lead once again. Andrade lost the handle. Turnover for Panama, back the other way. Quintana off the glass and in for two.
Both coaches have to be frustrated with the way that their teams have been turning the ball over a lot. And right now, Panama had multiple opportunities to really cut this lead. But fortunately for Puerto Rico, they were able to keep it together because both teams have been sloppy.
As we have a timeout here, just over 6.5 to go here in the second quarter. It's a 27-20 lead for Puerto Rico.
It's interesting for Puerto Rico to take a timeout right now, especially because they're up 7, but it's because they know they aren't playing great basketball right now. Both teams aren't. They're really lucky right now that they are up 7. They have been playing well. They have been capitalizing at certain opportunities, but this could be a much bigger lead for them, and I think they know that.
Especially with the history Puerto Rico's had at these kind of tournaments. The last FIBA U18 Championships, they finished 4th. They went 2-1 in the round robin, lost to Brazil in that 3rd place game.
And with all their success in the Central Basket Tournament, you know they want to finish higher than 4th.
And with Panama being unranked, they're hanging in here. They're playing really well.
Andrade, he's a really unselfish player, and he wants to get all his teammates involved. But on a couple of drives, we've seen him get into the paint. I think he should be a little bit more aggressive. He shouldn't be afraid to take a shot on his own because he could be the driving force to get Panama back into this game.
Panama finishing 3rd in the U17 Central Basket. As you take a look at the bench points right there, Puerto Rico dominating.
And that is solely the reason why they're in the lead. They're up 7. You take those 10 points away, it's a whole different game.
As we are ready to get action back underway, here's some last-minute coaching here done by Omar Gonzales, the head coach of the Puerto Rican team. As it's Andrade, he's being guarded by Quintana. Gunn sets a pick. Andrade has a little bit of space. Puerto Rico quickly closes on him, trying to drive, handed it off, putting it up and in for 2 points. There was Sepharon.
That was a great play by Andrade. It seemed like they weren't really going anywhere, but he's able to drive in, be aggressive, find the open man, and get the basket.
6 minutes and change left to go here in the first half. 5-point lead for Puerto Rico. Looking to add to it, it's Colon putting it up off the mark. Gunn with the rebound. And back the other way quickly, finds Aguilar. That attempt is blocked.
Fantastic play by Torres to get back and make that rejection on the other side, because if they make that basket, it's a one-possession lead. Maybe Panama gains even more momentum than Puerto Rico wants them to have.
Lopez checks back in the game for Panama. He comes on for Randall Aguilar. Andrade. Able to find Lopez. Sepharon, Andrade. 5 to shoot. Here's Gunn. He'll pull up from beyond the arc. Coming up short as the shot clock expired. Back the other way, Santiago off the glass.
Panama has to make a better effort to get back in transition a lot faster on that play. It gave Puerto Rico a wide open shot.
Lopez looking for a man open. He's got Andrade. Gunn up top. Being guarded by Quintana. 3 to shoot. Gotta put it up. Far side. They ran out of time. Too many passes as Lopez just couldn't get the shot off.
And we talked about sloppy play, but I think that was a credit to Puerto Rico's defense. They played that really well. Panama just had nothing going for them on that possession.
Santiago up top, 3 ball. That one no good there from Dominguez. As Andrade looking to the bench for some directions. He gets it back. Seen a lot of passes between him and Gunn here in the first half.
They really like that two-man game, as it was a poor attempt to get it inside the paint there, and now they force a turnover.
Again, the shot clock running down. They were running out of time, just forcing a bad pass from Andrade to Gunn. And right after that, David Rosario is all over that, wants to talk to his team about these recent possessions.
And you have to realize how important these turnovers have been for both teams.
It's 29-22 in favor of Puerto Rico here with just under 4.5 to play here in the second quarter. This is game 4 of day 1 here at the FIBA U18 Americas Championship right here in St. Catharines, Ontario. The first time the championship's ever been held here in Canada.
And that's a huge thing for Canada. It's an opportunity to really show how big basketball has become in this country. And for Panama and Puerto Rico right now, as you can see, free throws have been a huge issue. You make some of those free throws, it's obviously a closer game. It's those little things, especially when you're in a game like this, when you know you're not going to be the favorite, you have to make sure you capitalize on every opportunity you get. Maybe not all the time, but most of the time.
As the horn sounds, teams slowly making their way back to the court here to finish out the dying minutes of the first half. Panama, I'm sure, wanting to grab the momentum back as they led for quite a bit of this game to start, and then Puerto Rico sort of found their groove a little bit, took the lead, gone back and forth a little bit, and now it's Puerto Rico that has had the advantage for the last couple minutes.
And for Panama, it seems like they've had those opportunities to take advantage in this game. It just seems like when it looks like they might start to carve out of this lead, the opportunity falls away from them.
Good ball movement here from Puerto Rico. Rosa, 3, good. Rosa off the timeout.
We haven't seen a lot of threes in this game, so that one might be massive, especially now that it's a double-digit lead. Panama, they're going to have to see what happens as it looks like there's been a turnover, and it's going to be Puerto Rico ball.
A little bit of frustration there from Andrade as he looks up to the score clock. Puerto Rico taking over. Quintana up the court. It's Rosa right in front of us. Santiago, Quintana, Rosa. Pass off the mark, racing for it. Andrade, he'll get to it. Drives off the glass in. One great individual effort there from Jonathan Andrade.
And that was something that Panama desperately needed. Andrade, I said that he should be a little bit more aggressive, try to drive the basket. Obviously, that's a transition situation, but now he's at the line, an opportunity at 3 points. They needed to get this to single digits. You don't want to finish this half poorly. As you can see, Andrade using his body to get to the basket, almost slowing down a bit, so Puerto Rico falls into him. Now he's at the line.
Garibaldi checking in for Panama as Gunn checks out. Just over 3.5 to play here in this second quarter as Andrade hits that free throw attempt. It's now a 7-point lead for Team Puerto Rico. Santiago up top, Dominguez to Rosa. Torres. Santiago handed it off to no one in particular as Lopez found the loose ball, quickly hands it off to Andrade, who makes his way back up the court. Andrade looking for someone open, finds his man. Sepharon, what a block. They're gonna call. It's gonna be goaltending.
And it looked like a goaltend from here, Reese. It seemed like it was a little too late. Andrade really leading the way for Panama right now. It seems like he has the ball in the possession every single time, finding the wide open man, and that hit the backboard. That's a clear goaltend. That's the right call by the referees.
Now a 5-point game, 3 to go. Quintana, Torres, Santiago Quintana, driving, found a lane, decides to go back up top. Santiago's 3-point attempt comes up short.
And right now, Puerto Rico can't buy a basket. Meanwhile, Panama making great plays on the offensive side as Andrade again finds a man. We'll see what they call here.
He's gonna call it travel.
Timeout, Team Puerto Rico.
And Puerto Rico's called the timeout off for that, and yeah, I would. It looks like Panama has sort of started to regain the momentum.
And Puerto Rico has to be frustrated here. As they get into the paint, it's a travel, but at the end of the day, right now, Puerto Rico, again, they could be up by a ton more, but they're just making mental errors on the other side. For Panama, we mentioned that sometimes when it looks like they have opportunities to kind of take this game for themselves, stuff like that happens, a travel on the offensive side.
That was Lombardo trying to go up and get 2 more of his own to try and get it within a 1-possession game. But yeah, like you said, these are important moments here to end the half.
And one thing that we mentioned a couple times, Ricardo Lindo, the captain of the team, the captain of Panama, he's not playing in this game. He's their star player. And maybe it's a situation like this where they could need him desperately to maybe try to close that lead even more.
Referees going over to their respective benches, telling them, mate, let's go. Time to play some basketball with just over 2.5 to play. 32-27, Puerto Rico continues to lead Panama. Puerto Rico ranked 15th, Panama unranked. Been a close game up to this point.
I think it's interesting because in both huddles, I feel like both teams aren't happy with where they are because I think both of them really think that they should be winning this game, maybe for Puerto Rico by more, and for Panama, they should just be winning in general.
Definitely been the lowest scoring game of all of them so far today. Puerto Rico looking to get more on the scoreboard right off of this timeout. Placer's back on the court. Torres, Quintana. Placer's been the guy. Thought about shooting, didn't take it. Great ball movement as shot clock expires. They used a lot of the time, but didn't seem to use it that well.
And I agree, I think there was great ball movement. That was a great play. They found a decent shot. It's not going in the basket right now. They need to start making their shots. It's just that simple.
Lopez far side to Andrade. Makes a couple of moves, 5 on the shot clock. He pulls up from 3 and hits it. Andrade as the shot clock was about to expire.
Andrade has been fantastic, carrying the load for this team in this game, and now it's only 2 points, and it looks like he's trying to get a steal, can't finish the job as Puerto Rico pushes it over the court. Now they have numbers.
Vasquez goes up, draws contact, and he'll head to the line. My goodness, when you think one team starts to pull ahead, the other team says, no, no, no.
And that's something you expect in these tournaments. You want it to be competitive. You want it to be back and forth because this is the best of the best that the country has to offer. And you know, in a situation like this where you're representing your country, you want to give it your all, especially in the first game. You want to start strong. No one wants to start with a loss.
Gunn will check in for Sepharon for Team Panama. First attempt good there from Vasquez.
So far, Puerto Rico is perfect from the line. I don't want to jinx it, but fingers crossed that they make this so I don't feel bad.
Well, you didn't jinx it. Vasquez hits both. Back to a 2-possession game.
And sometimes free throws are the smallest thing that can really get the game going for you. They haven't been able to make a shot, but they got to the line. They got 3 points essentially, and now maybe that's going to get the ball rolling for Puerto Rico.
Lopez. If you're head coach David Rosario, you want your team to respond right here. It's Gunn. Lopez, as the shot clock expires, off the glass, 1-point game.
Right now, Panama, everything's going in the basket. They're playing great basketball. That wasn't the best shot in the world, but if it goes in, it goes in. No one's going to complain, right?
Dominguez, placer. Here's Vasquez. Back to placer. He's wide open. Can't hit the 3. Rebound up for grabs. It's going to be Lombardo with the rebound. Andrade back the other way. Panama a chance to take the lead.
And an opportunity at a 2-for-1. Let's see if they try to get a quick shot so they can get one more basket. It looks like they might just try to hold it, or no, they're going to shoot another 3.
Lopez hits the 3. 2-point lead for Team Panama.
Puerto Rico's going to need to answer here. 15 seconds left in the half. Panama's taking complete control of this game. It doesn't feel like it's a 2-point lead for Panama, but that's what it is.
36-34. Placer, more than likely the last possession of the half. Vasquez for 3. Can't hit it. Rebound up for grabs at the buzzer. There it is. If you're Team Panama, what a way to end this first half.
Everything was going right for Panama there. They were making their shots, and Puerto Rico was missing everything that they were taking, even good looks. I think that right now Panama has to be extremely happy, especially knowing they're going into halftime with some momentum.
Take a look here at the first half stats. Not the greatest 3-point percentage in the world, but Panama really hit their 3-point shots here late.
And you can see right now, offensive and defensive rebounds, it's relatively even, but when you looked at that free throw, not the free throw percentage, the field goal percentages, Panama is making way more shots. They're just being extremely efficient. And I think the story of that first half was the turnovers. Both teams playing sloppy, but Panama, I think we can forgive them a little bit more, especially the way they ended that half.
I said his name quite a bit of times. Andrade, Lombardo, big names for Panama. Puerto Rico on the other side. They've had their own stars as well.
And for Panama, they just had to keep the pace going. They've been making threes. They've been really efficient from the field, especially in that second quarter. And when they don't make their baskets, as you can see, they get the offensive rebound and get multiple opportunities on one set. That's the recipe for success. If you get multiple opportunities, it's just a better chance to get points, and that's the name of the game.
We talked about bench points a little bit at the end of that first quarter. A couple guys have come off the bench and contributed a little bit, but a lot of the starters have really contributed as well.
And I think the important thing for Panama, it might not be bench points, it might not be starter points, especially when you have a star player like Ricardo Lindo not playing for you anymore. Bench players are going to step up into the starting lineup, and right now it seems like it's a collective effort, a lot of ball movement, but Jonathan Andrade, what a performance in that first half. He played really, really well and played a lot of good team ball.
John Gunn, really a good supporting cast for him. Sort of being that guy that Andrade looked for to try and get those points up for Panama. But when Gunn was off, it was Andrade doing the work all himself. We're at the end of the first half. 36-34, Panama leads Puerto Rico. We'll take a break, come back for the third quarter.
Up, oh, check. God, that's too much, too strong. Dunk it, baby! Mexico drive hard to the basket. Ricardo. But Matters there, and he's denied by Justice. Come on now! Now into the hands of Hammond, feeds it into Bennett with a two-handed hammer jam. Chile survived!
Welcome back to the Meridian Center here in downtown St. Catharines for Game 4 of Day 1 here at the FIBA U18 Americas Championship. Along with Joe D'Agostino, I'm Reese Dumaney. It's a 2-point lead for Team Panama. 36-34, they lead Puerto Rico. We said his name quite a few times in that first half, Jonathan Andrade, and we will continue to say it in the second half.
We definitely expect it to be, because Jonathan Andrade played a great first half. 9 total points leading the team. He's also been a great team player, getting 5 assists total, and he's been a defensive presence with 3 steals as well.
He's also had help.
Absolutely. Edward Lopez, he has 8 points just behind him. He's got a steal of his own.
Talking about steals, points off turnovers might be the difference in this game so far. Panama's got 12, Puerto Rico with 9.
We saw a lot of sloppy play, especially in that second quarter. There was a sequence where it felt like almost every possession, both teams were turning the ball over, and no one could capitalize on it until Panama started to get that groove at the end of the second quarter, and now they're up 2. They were down 10 at one point. It looked like this game could get messy for Panama, especially that we know that they are the underdog, but they fought right back, and now they have a 2-point lead as Puerto Rico starts this third quarter off.
It's Placer. Said his name quite a few times in that first half as well. Puerto Rico quickly ties the game up 11 seconds into the third quarter.
And that's Isaiah Palermo, one of the starters. They did not play great in that first half. The bench points for Puerto Rico were 17 total, so the starters, they need to play better if they want to keep themselves in this game.
Lopez, 3 is good. Quick answer from Team Panama.
Now Lopez, the leading scorer for Panama, he's got 11. He's been fantastic for them. Right now, Panama, they have to be happy, especially the way their starting 5s are playing.
Vasquez wanted to drive, couldn't. Got it to Placer. He steps out of bounds, and it'll be Panama basketball.
Placer was one of those players for Puerto Rico early that was playing really well. He's their captain. They expect him to play well, but right now, after a turnover there, we mentioned turnovers right before this quarter started, that can't become an issue for Puerto Rico, especially in this second half, when they know the momentum is completely on Panama's side.
Omar Gonzales, their head coach, very unhappy in front of that Puerto Rican bench. But team looking to make them smile. Back the other way. Vasquez can't get the lay-in to go. Lopez finally able to gather the rebound. Another missed opportunity for Puerto Rico as it's Andrade back the other way, finding Lopez. Andrade. Placer is on him. Andrade. Stoppage in play and a turnover.
It looks like they're going to call it a carry. Unfortunately for Andrade, he just kind of lost his handle on the ball, and now that cost them a possession.
Rue will check into the game as Andrade will come to the Panama bench. Placer, he'll go up. Floater is short off the hands of Rue, and Panama gonna slow things down a little bit as Gunn is looking for options. Being guarded by Dominguez. Up top, Lopez, back to Gunn. Gunn. And the ball, again, is going to go back the other way.
Another turnover, and what's interesting is we didn't see Andrade really sit on the bench much as an offensive foul there, the charge, a clear charge. Andrade, he was the clear ball handler for Panama in that first half, and now with him off the bench, other players are going to have to take that role in there. That was a sloppy possession that resulted in an offensive foul.
Dominguez, he handed it off and then set a pick. Driving, putting it up, can't get it to go. Was Palermo. Only 2 points on the board so far for Puerto Rico here in this third quarter. Rue. Gunn. He'll pull up from 3, it's off the mark. Tried to chase his own rebound a little bit late. Back the other way with the left hand, DeAndre Dominguez.
And that was something Puerto Rico needed badly. They have not been successful, especially shooting the ball so far. It's been sloppy, but maybe a dunk like that could get them back into this game.
It's 1-on-3 down low, working hard and unable to get it to go was Lombardo, but it'll be Panama basketball down underneath. Good individual effort there from big number 12. He was working 1-on-3, but we got to take another look at Dominguez's left-handed dunk.
And one thing I think that's interesting, it seems like we're talking like Puerto Rico's down by 12 or 14 the way they're playing. They're only down 1 point.
Confusion on the face of Jose Placer as he's called for the block, and Panama will head to the line. In the first half from the line, Panama 50%, Puerto Rico 100%.
And that could be the difference maker right now. They're only up 1 if they make their free throws. That's under 50% now. And that could be a huge difference right now for Panama. They could be up by 7 or 8 instead of now only up 1 after another miss.
Lombardo missing both. Puerto Rico opportunity to take the lead. Placer, he drives, floater. That one is able to go for 2, and it's a 1-point lead. Puerto Rico. Rue right in front of us. Gunn is fouled.
Looks like Dominguez just got a little too antsy on that play there. He got a foul. And one thing that we have to mention, especially in these tournaments like this, you only get 5 fouls. So you have to be careful. You can't get into foul trouble. That could become an issue, especially if these teams try to get a little bit more gritty on the defensive side.
3.25 minutes into the third quarter. 2 fouls already for Team Puerto Rico. Panama's got 1. Going up, trying to get it to go. They're going to call a travel and another turnover on Lombardo.
Turnovers have to be the biggest story of this game so far. These teams need to take care of the ball a lot better, especially because you don't want plays like this to translate into the upcoming games. You need to start playing more disciplined. For Panama and Puerto Rico, that has to be their first priority.
Lombardo will now take a seat as he got a little bit of coaching there from David Rosario, just letting him know, hey, calm down, you got a team, let them help you out. As Puerto Rico will head to the line at the other end, it'll be Dominguez trying to give his team a 3-point lead.
And for Puerto Rico, compared to Panama, who's shooting under 50% from the free throw line, Puerto Rico hasn't missed yet, which is impressive, especially in a game where they've been so sloppy. At least they've taken care of the free throws.
There's the first free throw miss. Joe, you said you didn't want to jinx it. You might have just jinxed it there.
I would deny it, but I don't think I can.
Hey, when you've been perfect up to this mark, I think, well, probably not. You wouldn't hear it from Omar Gonzales. You're probably due for a miss, but he missed both there. An opportunity missed for Team Puerto Rico.
And now it's still only a 1-point game. This game's been close, but it's really been close because of sloppy basketball.
Andrade, guarded by Placer. Lopez. Those have been the 2 we've heard a lot from. Corner 3 off the mark. Puerto Rico back the other way. Palermo with the right hand. Doesn't get any easier than that. It's now 42-39 Puerto Rico.
And for Puerto Rico, they have to be extremely happy that even though they started off a little slow in the third quarter, they were able to take advantage of Panama's poor shooting in this third, and now they're up by 3.
As you saw Rue there take a not so high percentage shot and miss. Placer 3 off the mark. Rebound picked up. Vasquez handed it off to Dominguez. Up top, Torres. He'll float it in. Panama looked for a call, didn't get one.
Fantastic ball movement by Puerto Rico. It felt like every single player touched the ball in that possession, and it looked like they could have maybe gone into charge there in the paint on Torres, but they didn't call it. Maybe they shouldn't have, and they got 2 points.
It's Andrade up top as Lombardo and Gunn take a seat to our left, ready to come back on the court. Andrade hands it off the glass and in for 2 points there. Torres. 1 possession game. Palermo thought about the 3, didn't take it. Vasquez driving, floater good.
And almost like the end of that second quarter for Panama, where they were starting to make their shots, seems like that's starting to happen for Puerto Rico.
Just over 4.5 to play here in quarter number 3. It looks like we may have a foul on the floor.
I think one positive for both teams so far is they both struggled at certain points in this game for a significant amount of time, but they kept their composure and were able to get themselves back into it. For Panama now, the situation is where their back is a little bit against the wall. They need to push forward, try to get this game back into their favor. Let's see if they can do that. It's going to take a couple of good possessions, maybe on this one right here.
There are 2 unranked teams in this tournament, Ecuador and Panama here in this one. Puerto Rico ranked 15th. As getting in the paint there, drawing contact, and he will now shoot 2, is Jesus Lombardo.
And you mentioned the ranks. Sometimes we might just look at these ranks a little too much and maybe take them a little too seriously, because we've seen Ecuador and Panama now play great halves of basketball, and maybe right now Panama can make that opportunity to cut this lead down.
First one off the mark. Free throw shooting, another problem for Panama.
And I think this dunk right here, this was the situation where we knew that this game is now back in Puerto Rico's hands. An opportunity, they're up by 5 right now, another missed free throw for Panama. They're only shooting 42% from the field at the free throw line, but they make that one, and that's a much needed free throw to maybe build some confidence heading into this final half of the third quarter.
George Condit will come off the bench. He'll take over for Dominguez. Big George Condit, 6'10" forward, as we mentioned. He will be an Iowa State Cyclone in the fall.
And maybe he's a big body right now. It looks like they might be trying to post him up here to maybe give Puerto Rico a little bit extra on the offensive side.
Palermo, he gave it away to Lopez. Andrade picks up the loose change and will slow things down as he makes his way back to center court. Found Gunn. Gunn stops, pulls up, misses, who's it off? Panama will keep the ball with 14 seconds on the shot clock.
And that was great effort by Gunn to keep the ball on Panama's side. He was one of the top players for them in that first half, as well as Andrade. We just really haven't heard their name that much so far. Let's see if maybe they can close out this quarter strong.
Gunn, 3, no good. Puerto Rico back the other way quickly as that pass will find the signs just beyond the basket. Another turnover. Panama will once again get the ball. 46-42. Puerto Rico leads Panama here with just over 3.5 to play here in the third quarter of the final game here on day 1 of the U18 FIBA Americas Championship. Along with Joe D'Agostino, I'm Reese Dumaney. Thanks a lot for tuning in as we have a foul here. Looks like Panama's gonna head to the line again.
I think both teams after this game, they're gonna look at the scoreboard, they're gonna look at the stats, and they're gonna see how many turnovers both of them had and how they could have had this game maybe in their hand a little bit more, especially in a situation like this. Andrade, I like how he's still being aggressive. I feel like both teams, even though they're forcing these turnovers and making bad passes, at least it shows their confidence isn't gone, because they're still trying to force the ball into tight spaces. They just have to be a little bit better at it.
Aguilar will check in for Panama. He's replacing Gunn, who's getting a little bit of a pep talk here from the coaching staff of Team Panama.
You could kind of see the frustration there on Andrade's face as he missed that free throw. He knows if he makes that, if he's been making some of those that he's missed, it's a different game.
1 for 2 on that trip to the line. Now a 1-possession lead for Team Puerto Rico. Santiago, who's back on the court. Far side 3, and making no mistake there, Victor Rosa.
Rosa, who's been quiet in this game, makes a much needed 3 for Puerto Rico, extend this lead to 6. Their largest lead of the game was 10, but Panama was able to cut into it before the half ended. Let's see if they try to do that again.
Pass from Andrade. Ball up for grabs. Who's got it? Jump ball. And it will go the way of the Puerto Ricans.
I love when I see players dive for the ball and trying to get an opportunity like that, put themselves in harm's way, because you know it shows that this game matters, especially in a game that they know they haven't played perfect. At least you can have the hustle and you can make sure that you give it your all, and maybe they'll make their coaches a little less upset with the way they played in these first 3 quarters.
The players know how much this game means as well as we do. Opening games of tournaments always important. Another three hit on the far side, this time by George Condit.
And George Condit, we mentioned that maybe he's the guy that could be a difference maker coming off the bench. This Panama looks like they're calling a timeout, a much needed timeout. They're down by 9 now.
So they came back down quite a bit there in that second quarter. Do you maybe try the same thing they did, or do you have to switch things up? Because it looks like Puerto Rico sort of adjusted to the attack of Panama.
I think for Panama, I think the best opportunity for them is just to keep at what got them the lead, and that's just be confident. As you can see here, Puerto Rico, they came out and they played much better basketball, moving the ball around, finding a wide open George Condit in the wing, and that's the way to win games like this. When you're not playing well, move the ball, be effective, be efficient, and that's what Puerto Rico's done in this third quarter.
They lead it by 9, 52-43, with just under 2.5 to play here in the third quarter. Puerto Rico, though, they are in foul trouble. They've got 5 here in this third quarter. Only 2 for Team Panama as they look to get things going. Did you see the total rebounds on there? Pretty close.
It has been pretty close, but they have 5 more rebounds than Panama, Puerto Rico, and 5 of those rebounds, offensive rebounds. And that's always a difference maker in a game like this, especially when it's a game of runs, when you get multiple opportunities. That's going to fire your team up because you know that they made that extra effort. It's going to make everyone on the team happy. It's going to make everyone effective. It's going to make everyone better.
Teams make their way back onto the court to resume play here in the third. It's going to be Lopez to inbound. To who else? It's Andrade. Those two have been dominant for Team Panama. Gunn as well has made quite a big contribution here. He's got it for 3. Unable to hit it as Puerto Rico back the other way. Torres driving, reverse layup, can't get it to go. Rebound picked up there by his teammates. Fighting for the ball down low. Condit is in there as well as Gunn. It's a jump ball and it'll go the way of Team Panama.
Great effort there by Puerto Rico to keep that ball alive, but on the flip side, Panama, again, getting on the floor, trying to get that ball, trying to keep it their possession now, because they know they're down by 9. There's no opportunity to fall and slip even more, especially because there's not a lot of time left to maybe come back as opposed to when it was in the second quarter.
Andrade thought about 3, didn't take it. Looking for someone open. He's got Lopez. Back to Andrade, little bit too high. Another turnover, Puerto Rico basketball.
And on that possession, Andrade was screaming and jumping for the ball, and it was just a bad pass, and that's unfortunate for them because it looked like he might have had a nice shot if he got him the ball a little bit earlier.
Santiago, he's got Condit up top, decides to go down low. Torres, back to Santiago, able to find Rosa. You can very well tell who George Condit is. He's the big man underneath. It's up top. Rosa has to shoot it. Can't get it to go. Follow-up opportunity goes nowhere. Santiago thought about the pass, decided to drive. Then he handed it off into the corner. That 3 is good there from Vasquez.
What a fantastic play by Puerto Rico, getting the ball, faking the pass, and then still dishing it out to him in the corner. Wide open 3. Perfect play.
Looks like Puerto Rico's starting to feel it on both ends of the ball. There's a turnover. Santiago back the other way. Is fouled on his way to the bucket.
And this has been a tough stretch for Panama. Puerto Rico is taking complete advantage. Maybe Panama has to go to someone on the bench to maybe build some momentum right now. Maybe that's their opportunity to get back into this game.
As we see Sepharon walk right in front of us, he'll check into the contest. Aguilar will come out.
And take a look at this, a nice dish to the side, finding the wide open man in the corner. That is a 3. And Puerto Rico, they've hit a couple 3s in this third quarter, something that they were not effective in that first half.
First attempt, no good there from Santiago. Wow, they've gone cold ever since you mentioned they were perfect, Joe.
I don't know why you have to blame me on the free throws, okay? I said it once, and it was a long time ago. I think that the blame is off of me for now. See, he made a free throw.
1 for 2 is Santiago.
And because that foul was in the transition, Puerto Rico keeps the ball, which is another opportunity for them to extend this lead. Now up to 13. This game has really fallen away from Panama. They've gone ice cold in this quarter.
56-43, 50 seconds to go. Pass off a couple of hands. It ricochets out of bounds, and the Puerto Ricans will keep it. Vasquez to Condit. He's up top looking for options. Rosa, he'll pull up from 3, can't hit it. Santiago fighting for the rebound, but it's Andrade coming back the other way. He'll find Sepharon, who goes off the glass, can't get it to go. Here comes Puerto Rico. It's Santiago will pull up. He's able to hit the jump shot. Lead extended to 15.
Everything's going right for Puerto Rico right now. They're out hustling Panama. They're out shooting Panama. They're just playing better basketball now. They're starting to play a little bit more cleaner, a little bit more crisp, and that's the main reason why they're leading this game by this much.
Lopez off the mark. Vasquez as time expires. Alejandro Vasquez from half court hits it. 61-43 Puerto Rico.
I think Puerto Rico, after this shot, they've made up for everything that went wrong in that first half. They're almost up by 20 points now. Panama, they're gonna have to figure this out, and they're gonna have to figure this out quick. There is not a lot of time left.
Puerto Rico looks like they're on a mission to close this one out quickly as we hit the end of the third quarter, getting set. Should be an exciting fourth.
It should be an exciting fourth if Panama can start playing a little bit more cleaner. They've been playing really sloppy, and the difference was both teams were sloppy, so Panama, it wasn't really hurting them in that first half. In the second half, Puerto Rico played a lot better, and Panama did not, and that's why this lead is such a difference maker right now.
Andrade, we mentioned, has been one of those guys that they've looked for. They keep looking for him, but hasn't been able to make his shots late. Gunn as well has gone a little bit cold. Lopez still kind of there, but again, one of those guys that sort of has to start getting it going again.
Honestly, Reese, I think you're being a little generous when you're saying they're getting a little cold. That was an ice cold quarter by Panama, but the good news for them is there's still a fourth quarter, and we've seen these teams get cold in separate opportunities in this game, and the other team has capitalized. Panama was down by 10 before, or was down by 10. They're obviously down by a lot more than 10, but it's still not over. There's still 10 minutes. Play good basketball, play efficient basketball. Maybe you can get yourself back into this game.
The bench points continue to climb after 3 quarters. Puerto Rico 26 off the bench. Only 10 for Panama, and points off turnovers, it's gone the other way. Puerto Rico now with 16.
And you can just look at this package right now for Puerto Rico. They're just making easy shots, nice dunks, getting some momentum, building it, hitting threes, which is always a great energy boost for your team. They're just playing great basketball. They're getting offensive rebounds. It felt like when Panama would ever even get a rebound, it was always really contested and tough. It seemed like nothing was easy for Panama in that third quarter. And then to cap it off, that's really the perfect way to cap off a quarter like that for Puerto Rico. Everything was going right for them, like everything was going right for Panama in that second quarter. It's been 2 separate halves, 2 different teams have really shown up.
That was Alejandro Vasquez with the exclamation mark on an amazing third quarter for Team Puerto Rico, the 6'3" guard, St. Patrick High School in the United States. Puerto Rico will begin this fourth and final frame with the ball. It'll be Santiago being guarded by Andrade.
Andrade, he had 3 steals in that first half. He didn't have one in that third quarter. Maybe if he can get himself a little bit more involved on the defensive side as Puerto Rico gets another basket, extending it to 20.
George Condit uses all of that 6'10" body to get the 2 points on the board. It's now a 20-point lead for Puerto Rico.
I think the most important thing for Panama right now is they can't start playing hero ball. No need to force up ridiculous threes or ridiculous shots where you think you've been fouled. Play smart, play efficient, and that's a deep 3. And just like I said, that's the clear idea of hero ball, just taking a shot that's really unnecessary this late in the game.
And that's something we also saw from Ecuador earlier on there. They also the other unranked team in the tournament, they started to play hero ball a little bit late into the game.
And I think that happens when you're just young players. At the end of the day, these kids, they're 16, 17, 18 years old. they still have a lot to learn. Their basketball IQ isn't going to be their best because they still have so much left to learn. They haven't been playing basketball for as long as some people really expect them to play at.
Panama, another opportunity goes nowhere. Santiago quickly back the other way off the hands of Condit. It'll go out of bounds, and Panama will get the ball back.
Let's see if Panama can maybe start a run here. Get a couple easy baskets, cut it to maybe 16-14, and then we'll go from there and see if they can maybe build off of that run.
Gunn, three, quickly. Off transition, can't get it to go, and it's Santiago. Back the other way for Puerto Rico. Condit looking for options. Wanted Santiago, couldn't get it to him. Now it's Rosa off the mark with that three-point attempt, and Gunn with the rebound quickly up to Andrade and back to Gunn. Pull-up jumper off the glass and good there from number 15 in white, Sepharon.
Sepharon's made a couple nice shots for them in that first half. For him to get it going, maybe he's the difference maker. Maybe he can cut this lead into a little bit while Andrade and maybe a guy like Gunn can get themselves a little bit more involved on the defensive side.
Torres, he finds a lane and slams it down for two more.
Subs here.
65-45, Panama continues to lead, or excuse me, Puerto Rico continues to lead. It's Andrade, far side to Lopez. Lopez drives, draws some contact, and he'll head to the line.
You mentioned that Lopez was one of the better players in that first half. He had 8 points. He only had 3 in the third quarter. Well, Panama, they didn't play great basketball, but you know, for him to maybe get himself going now, that could be important for them. 2 free throws, an opportunity to cut this lead. Maybe this is the start of a run by Panama.
First one there from Lopez is off the mark.
And I don't want to make excuses for Panama because they should have played better. They should have been a little bit more ready for this game in terms of efficiency, but they don't have Ricardo Lindo, their best player, and that obviously hurts. You definitely have to adjust the way you play when your star player isn't in the lineup, especially on a team like Panama where you probably expect a lot from him.
Especially playing against a team like Puerto Rico. They're strong. Like Panama has had guys that have stepped up. It's just Panama has had a little bit more experience on the bigger stage than Panama has, and that's sort of showing here late into the third quarter and at the start of this fourth. As draining a jumper there is Palermo, extending the Puerto Rican lead. That's an air ball from the corner, but it ricocheted off of Palermo right to Andrade. Sepharon, far side, Lopez off the mark. Andrade. Sepharon has to shoot. He hits it as the shot clock expires. 3 points there for number 15 in white.
Big shot by Sepharon right there. Now it's only an 18-point game. Maybe this is the run. You still have 7 minutes left. There's tons of time, and we've seen runs like this shorten real quick, especially in the second quarter when they were up by 10, Puerto Rico.
Foul on the floor. As trying to drive with Santiago. Now he's going to inbound it right in front of his own bench. Just over 6.5 to play here in the fourth quarter. It's Santiago up top being guarded by Andrade. Palermo. Up top, Santiago. Shot clock is down, floater good.
Puerto Rico's found their groove now. It seems like they're just playing confident. They know that they're a great team, and they're playing like a great team right now in this second half.
As we mentioned in the first half, they finished 4th in the 2016 U18 FIBA Championships, did Puerto Rico. Colon picking up the rebound in down low as Santiago able to just get that pass away from Lopez.
That's just
they
great
ain't
basketball.
Missing a lot.
That's great basketball, Reese. You know you have numbers. You make the smart pass, a wide open 3 in the corner. They're playing great right now.
Andrade. Far side driving, putting it up off the mark. Picking up his own rebound. Nice play from Garibaldi. Ball out of bounds. It'll stay Panama basketball.
It's going to be really difficult for Panama to get back in this game now. It's a 23-point lead with around 5 minutes left in this game. Tomorrow, Panama has the U.S. in the late game as well. Puerto Rico, they're facing Dominican. USA beat the Dominican earlier in game 3 today. Panama, they're going to have to play a lot better tomorrow if they want to beat the U.S. or compete with the U.S. And for Puerto Rico, it's going to be a tough game against the Dominican.
Garibaldi down low, Sepharon. 3 off the mark, picks up his own rebound. Up top, Lopez. That 3 off the mark once again, and it's Cologne picking up the rebound. Quintana. Cologne. Linares going up off the glass. Rebound picked up. Cologne up top for 3. Off the mark and putting it back in. Nice individual effort there from Adriel Linares. 74-49 in favor of Puerto Rico. Just over 4.5 to play here in the 4th quarter of the final game here on day 1 at the 2018 U18 FIBA Americas Championship. Right here at the Meridian Center in St. Catharines, Ontario.
I think for Panama, I think the smart thing in this situation is maybe to go to the bench, maybe clean out your starting lineup, get some players who didn't get a lot of minutes in this game, get them involved. Maybe they can get hot, and then going into the next game, you have your bench getting a little bit more confident and giving your stars a little bit of rest. You know it's a short layoff. It's tomorrow night where they're going to play again.
Linares trying to go up, couldn't do it. Cologne, as the shot clock expired, he did not want to shoot that ball, did it, and hit it for 3.
I think after the shot went in, he was really happy he did.
It's Lopez. Lost it for a second, got it back. Andrade. Driving. Lost the handle, looked to the official for a foul, didn't get one, and back the other way, making no mistake there, is Quintana.
We'll see, 3 minutes left. This game is definitely over. Puerto Rico was able to get the win. They were able to pull away by a huge margin in the second half. They played really well, but for Panama, there's still an opportunity to build a little bit of momentum, get some nice shots as another miss for them. They've been ice cold.
Cologne. Rosa for 3. Puerto Rico is putting on a clinic right now from beyond the arc.
And I'll say this, if Puerto Rico plays the way they played in this second half for the rest of the tournament, they are going to be a force to reckon with, whether it's the US or Canada or anybody, Chile, whoever they have to face. This is going to be a tough team to beat.
As we have numerous subs making their way onto the floor. First we have a foul. Now the subs will be able to make their way as Andrade and Lopez, the 2 big names for Panama, will have a seat on the bench with just under 3 to play.
I think for Panama, even though this is obviously a lopsided loss for them, there was a lot of positives they could have taken from this game, especially in that first half. They played really well. They were getting nice shots. Andrade, he stepped up big time. It just didn't translate the rest of that game. If they can clean up and be a little bit better, especially in terms of the turnovers, maybe making shots like that, they can be better tomorrow.
That was Sepharon hitting a 3 ball. Yeah, for sure. This Panama team competed with a very good Puerto Rico team for more than half of this game, and it really showed that they came to play, and that not so much that they're going to be a force to be reckoned with, but that they think they can do well in this tournament.
And I think they can do well. They just have to be a little bit cleaner. I think they were able to get away with the turnovers because Puerto Rico was also playing a little sloppy in that first half. But if they're able to clean it up, they could have been up by 10 or 15, and then a lead like this, it would be a much different story.
Another foul on the floor. As you see, Palermo with 3 fouls. From beyond the arc, no good. Off of Palermo and out of bounds. Panama will keep the ball.
And Panama and Puerto Rico, they do have a lot of history. They're both playing in the Central Basket Tournament earlier this year. And I think what was also interesting with this group, it was just kind of the luck of the draw, but all the teams from Central America are in Group A, all the teams in South America are in Group B. There's a lot of familiarity in this tournament, and it's kind of exciting because you know these teams are going to know a lot about each other, maybe building some rivalries with the players already before even going into this tournament, which can lead to a lot of great competitive basketball.
As we were talking before the game, yep, Dominican, Panama, Puerto Rico, all in the same U17 tournament. Very familiar with each other. Of course, the US joins them in Group A, Canada in Group B. As we count things down here, we have a stoppage in play with 1:24 left to go here in the fourth quarter. 82-51 in favor of Puerto Rico. Rue looking for someone open, able to find his man, Duke, along the far side. That three attempt there from Aguilar, just a little bit long, and it's Palermo back the other way.
And one thing to keep an eye on for tomorrow is Ricardo Lindo if he plays. Panama's definitely going to need him when they're facing the U.S.
Quintana down low to Cologne, easily off the glass and in for two with just over 50 seconds to go.
Cologne has had a really quiet but really good game. He's hit a couple threes. He's been a beast on the boards. He's had a couple of offensive rebounds, and right there he made a nice basket in this final minute of the game.
Sepharon's shot doesn't go, and a smart play there from Palermo to put it off an opponent. Puerto Rico will get the ball with 36 seconds left to play. Quintana. Looking for a man open, ended up giving the ball away, and with under 20 to go, either the last couple possessions, and it's off a Puerto Rican. Panama will keep the ball.
It's going to be interesting to see if maybe Panama can make maybe one more shot and build a little bit of momentum. We know they're going to have a tough task.
Rue, pull-up jumper off the mark. Rebound up for grabs. And back the other way, it's Quintana. They will count it down here on day one of the U18 FIBA Americas Championship. It's an 84-51 final. Puerto Rico takes it over Panama to cap off a good day of basketball here in St. Catharines.
I'm surprised because when you look at this game, it was 36-34 at halftime. Puerto Rico just played so well in that second half, and they definitely earned this victory today.
As we see final stats here, the three-point percentages, huge difference. Even the free throws, 73% for Puerto Rico.
And that was the complete opposite in the first half. Puerto Rico had abysmal numbers on the field, and it was the complete opposite. As you can see, their rebounds, huge numbers for Puerto Rico. They were incredible on the offensive side as well.
Blocks in favor of Puerto Rico, 7-0, 16 turnovers for Panama.
And for those blocks, you have to understand, especially with the height issues that Panama had, since they're more of a smaller team, it's going to be tougher for them, especially when they're driving the paint. It was clearly an issue against Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico with no player under 6 feet tall.
And it showed. It definitely showed in this game. They played great basketball, especially in that second half. I keep saying that, but it's just really impressive how, because Panama went into the second half with all the momentum, and Puerto Rico completely switched to flip, and they played great, and that's always impressive. It shows that they have composure, they're calm, they're collected, they know even when things don't go their way, they played great and they were able to bounce back. That's something you need in a tournament when you know you're going to be facing great teams the entire time.
You saw the leaders on the board there. We're talking about Andrade and Lopez all game long. Sepharon quietly became the leading scorer for Panama in that game with 13.
And I think that just became an issue with the fact that Andrade and Lopez and Gunn, they just couldn't make their shots in that second half. And Sepharon, he played great at the end in that fourth quarter. He made a couple of shots. He hit a three. So that was impressive. They're going to need him. Again, they might need Ricardo Lindo tomorrow if they want to compete with the U.S. But really, we're talking a lot about Panama, but Puerto Rico, they were the stars of this game. They played great. And it was from multiple areas. They drove down. They were starting to hit their threes. It was really a collective effort from everyone on the team.
Puerto Rico with 5 players in double-digit scoring. Leading the way with 12 was Victor Rosa. Right behind him with 11 was Palermo. And then 3 guys with 10, Placer, Colon, and Vasquez.
And one thing we talked about was that they play team basketball. They get a lot of players involved, and a lot of players on their team can score, and that's always really needed. We saw in this situation, they were cold in that first half, but players were able to step up in the second, and because those players stepped up, it built momentum, it built some energy on their team, and it got everybody going, and that's why that was such a surprising game.
Now, I have an interview for you. Jose Placer, he's with Anthony Gallo.
Congratulations on the win. It was a tight first half. The shooting wasn't great for both teams, but you guys pulled away in the third quarter. What adjustments were made at halftime in order to take the lead and show your true potential as a team?
I mean, we just kept our heads held high, kept the confidence in our shots, and then we know we're a very defensive team, so we know if we came out in the second half, played good defense, stay confident, we would get the outcome that we had.
What does it mean to you to represent your country here, not only just representing, but to be the captain and the leader of this team as well?
I mean, it's an unbelievable feeling. I mean, everything that's going on the island after the hurricane and everything, just, being able to represent them and then go out there for them and, win and represent, it's just amazing.
So, expectations for Puerto Rico and yourself moving forward?
I mean, we want to win the whole thing. That's straightforward. I mean, for me, just lead the team, go as far as we can, and then win the whole thing and qualify for the Worlds.
Thank you very much, man. Congratulations. Good luck the rest of the tournament.
Thanks a lot, Anthony. That man is headed to UMBC in the fall. Huge difference maker in this one. It's an 84-51 final. Puerto Rico defeats Panama. For Joe D'Agostino and all of our crew, I'm Reese Dumaney. Have a good night, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.